Hello and welcome to this video. I'm going to be showing you today how to replace your old wobbly Nintendo 64 analog stick with a new one, and I will also be showing you how to disassemble the controller and clean it, which this one I got from PlayOn Incorporated. It's a store in Genesee County. I would highly recommend for anyone who lives in Michigan, anywhere near Genesee County. Alright, so what you're going to need is, obviously, the controller. You're going to need a screwdriver, small one, small Phillips screwdriver. You're going to need also this. This is a repair box GameCube style joystick for the N64 controller. So if you've been playing an N64 since they came out, you'll know by now that the analog sticks wear out severely over time, especially if you play Mario Party. But yeah, so this thing, I've actually done this for multiple 64 controllers, and I really like the result. It's really nice GameCube style thumbstick. It's just a lot. I'm not going to say it's better play value or better performance than the original, but it doesn't get worn out, and that, for me, that's better than performance. But really, it's up to you if you want to just get a new one of the original style or whatever. Alright, let's get started here. So, first, we're going to unscrew all these screws in the back. Alright, and then once you get all these ones out, you'll see in here there are two. You're going to have to unscrew these ones too. If you try to take the two halves apart, then with these ones still screwed in, you are going to experience some difficulty. You're either going to end up breaking your controller because you tried to separate the two halves, or you are going to get really mad and throw it across the room, break it anyway. Out. These two I'm not taking out all the way, they're not coming out. So now what you're going to do is just lift this part off, and that comes off, and voila, there you have the inside of the N64 controller. So let's start, since we have this here, by cleaning this. If you want to clean it, then you can follow this part, or you can just skip to where I'm going to replace the joystick, but whatever. So I'm going to pop this Z button out, like that. And to clean, you're going to want any kind of disinfecting wipes. Like, that's what I use. You could use rubbing alcohol if you wanted to, but I'm not going to do anything extreme right now, so I'm just going to use the wipes, and I'm going to use Q-tips too. If I have any, if you have any small areas where you can't get to with a wipe, then use a Q-tip. Just like what I do is, like, I soak the tip of the Q-tip in the or I just like squeeze the wipe on it. That gets some of the fluid from the wipe onto the Q-tip, and then you can transfer that to wherever you want to clean. So just go all over, just rub it down real good. That's good enough. If you want to clean whatever parts of the controller are dirty, clean them. And make sure you get along this ridge here, because this is where most of the junk collects. Alright, that's pretty good. Good enough for my tastes. Alright, just clean the outside real quick. And then, I think that'll do. Alright, now, next, I'll just go over this Z button real quick. Just want to get this nice and clean. It's used, so you never know. Always make sure your controllers are clean. So now, I'm going to put the Z back into place. Just pop that in. There's this little clippy thing there. You can see that's not focusing really well, but it's in there. Alrighty. Now, we can move on to this. So, before we replace the stick, I'm going to just do a little tear down here. I'm going to take these two buttons, the L and R, out. See those? I'm going to clean those and set them aside. Alright, that's good. And now I'm going to remove this wire from these things it's lodged between. Now I'm going to take these rubber pads off. Actually, just take this whole thing out. Just be careful. Through this whole thing you're going to need to be careful because this is obviously rather delicate. So just take these rubber pads off and go over them with disinfecting wipes as well. Alright, and that's out of there. So now what? Now I'm going to unscrew. No, first I'm going to take this pad out and clean that off. Just be careful not to tear it or anything like that. Alright, there's that, and then we're going to take this conductor board, jigamabob, or whatever it is. Alright, now we can unscrew these. This here is sort of the, I guess you could call it the console of the thumbstick, the housing for it. So just take these three screws out. Usually they're shinier than the ones from the outside, so they're usually pretty easy to tell which ones are which. Now this thing, that just pops out of there. But you can't just yank it out. You've got to unplug it from the controller. Which, this is pretty nifty. I've looked inside of off-brand Nintendo 64 controllers, and the stick is connected directly to the controller. It doesn't have this plug thing. So you see that? That's basically just a plug. It's hard to get out sometimes, so just be careful. You don't want to break anything. But, yeah. So basically, with an official 64 controller, if you want to replace the thumbstick, it's a pretty easy fix. No rewiring, no soldering or anything like that. Just plug and play. Alright, so I finally got this out of here. It's pretty stubborn, but I managed it. So, now you have this little thing here. You can set this aside. You're not going to need that anymore. Alright. So, I usually don't bother to clean this circuit board. I don't want to mess it up. So, I'm just going to leave that. Just going to leave it here. And let's take a look at this. This is the front. What you're going to do with this is you're going to take these pads off of these little poles they're stuck on. Take the middle one out, the start button, and then we have all these buttons. Just dump them. Oh, that one's stuck. Alright, so here is the shell. I'm going to take this sticker off, price tag. Make sure you don't get too much residue on there. Alright, now we're going to clean off the shell. Just do the same thing you did for the back. Okay, now we clean the buttons. And the conductive, our rubber pads here. Just go over them real quick. Okay, now, looks like it's all clean. That's good. Now we can put all the buttons back in. So the cool thing is, the buttons each have their own specific shape. So it's very hard to get them in the wrong place. You can see these little nubs on the end. So they'll only fit into their designated hole.
Alright, we're going to put these pads back on.
And it's the same deal with the pads. You can only put them where they're supposed to go. They won't fit anywhere else. Alright, so now on to the thumbstick. So just put this circuit board back on where it belongs. Alright. Now, take your new thumbstick, if you have one, and just put it in where the old one was. Now, the trick is plugging it in. It's always tricky, because you don't want to break it, obviously, but here goes nothing. So I've got the stick plugged in, and I think ready to just put that in where the other one was. Now what you're going to do is screw it in. Screw it back in. Whoops. Alright, that's all 3 screws. Okay. You know what's the most aggravating thing? The most aggravating mistake to make is to forget to screw this in and then put the back of the controller back on. That is terrible. You've got to unscrew it. Oh well. Yeah. So don't make that mistake. I made that mistake. Don't make that mistake. Alright, now this is sometimes a little bit tricky to get in there. Just gotta push it. Just be careful. If you're prone to break things, then I'm just saying, try to repair at your own risk. Like, don't come running to me if your controller breaks while you're trying to fix it, because that happens. and it's not my fault. If my controller breaks during this video, then it's my fault. But there we go. Alright, that's in there. Now you've got to put the rubber pad back on. And sometimes this is like tighter than the original one, but it still works. It's fine. Alright, so we have the new stick in place. It is plugged in and is screwed in. We've got the button. It's pretty tight, so, you know. Alright, so now what we're going to do is put the L and R pads back on. So, I can't remember exactly which ones go where, but we can find out. So it's looking like this one, they're reversed. So this one's, the left one's going to be R for right. So it's going to, but we're looking at it backwards, so it's going to be reversed. So this is right, and then this is left. Let's fit that in there. Oh wait, I got it upside down. Duh. Okay, cool. Now I will put the R and L buttons back on. And now is the time for us to put the back. Oh wait, first make sure the cord is in position. Make sure you get how it was when you first took it apart. So it goes like curved under this pin, over that pin, and then under here and through. Okay, and then we'll put the back on. And that's good. Let's make sure, make sure it just pops on there. Sometimes it takes a little. Yeah, that works. Alright, now we're going to screw all of the screws back in. Just put them where they were before. This thinner ones, the thinner ones are the ones that go in here. So, put the thinner ones in there, obviously. And that's all for now. Everything feels good. Buttons are all going down nicely. None of them sticking. Alright. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.